Hello everyone, my name is John Bussard. I'm an HPE Business Transformation Center engineer for Ingram Micro. I help support HPE servers, blade system storage, as well as Aruba networking technology solutions. In my video, what I like to do is show you a slide from a popular PowerPoint and then demonstrate to you what that means within a management context. Today we're going to be continuing on our discussion with block storage based on the Alletra MP B10000 based solution. But in particular, we're going to be looking at Private Cloud Business Edition, or what some people will call PCBE. Private Cloud Business Edition is a cloud-based management interface that allows us to manage across HPE's Hyper-Converged platforms. And that certainly can be the true-to-form HPE SimpliVity solution, or it can be the disaggregated Hyper-Converged solution, or the DHCI solution that's based on the Alletra MP or legacy-based systems. Right, so one of the things that I've kind of noticed within HPE's marketing is they've been kind of replacing DHCI with Private Cloud Business Edition. I think it's safe to say that when you look at that, just keep in mind that DHCI is the hardware platform based on an Alletra-based storage solution and some ProLiant servers at the least, right? And Private Cloud Business Edition is really the management interface found up within the cloud. Right. This solution can not only manage private cloud hyperconverged infrastructure, but can also manage public cloud resources that you can find within Azure or AWS. So you can pick and choose where you want to deploy your new applications, whether it's within your private cloud or up within the public cloud. So with all that being said, let's explore this management context. Okay, here we are up within the cloud. Right, if I scroll down a little bit, we see a variety of solutions that are out there. So for example, the Data Services Cloud Console is what we're going to dig into. But there's other solutions out here. So for example, Aruba Central allows us to be able to manage on-prem HP networking equipment. Compute Ops Management, or COM, allows us to manage on-prem ProLiant servers. Right, and we obviously have a lot of other solutions in here, but Data Services, or the Data Services Cloud Console, allows us to be able to manage storage solutions. So PCBE, or Private Cloud Business Edition, will be found within here. So let me launch that. Now, when you buy a DHCI solution, you will still get access to block storage as well as Data Ops Manager. And I went over these in my last video, but just a quick overview. Data Ops Manager allows us to manage at an array level, I would say. So if you needed to change a DNS entry, a time server, or maybe set up a replication relationship between two different arrays, I would do that in Data Ops Manager. Block storage is where I'm going to create and manage volumes that I'm going to present within my environment. Now, the nice thing is when you get a Private Cloud Business Solution, or PCBE, based on DHCI, you still get access to block storage and Data Ops Manager. So for example, you could create a volume and present that to a completely separate Windows system if you wanted to do something of that nature. Right, but we want to focus in on Private Cloud Business Edition, which is down here. So let me launch that. All right, so we're on the dashboard. Right, we got a few things we can go into, which we will certainly dig into. We get a summary over here. We can see my virtual machines that I have. Right, how many are in my private cloud environment and how many are in the public cloud. You can see the amount of systems I'm managing within this interface. The capacity utilization across virtual machines or systems. Right, any issues that pop up. And if I scroll down a little bit, we'll see any recent announcements. One of the nice things about having a cloud-based management interface for my on-prem solution is the updates can happen on the back end within the solution. So no features and functionality will happen. I'll get an announcement on that, and I'll be able to leverage those as a part of my infrastructure. System utilization is another interesting section. For example, certainly these red dots, something's going on there, so maybe I want to highlight them. And we can see one of my legacy Nimble DHCI solutions has high memory utilization. But I have a lot of CPU utilization available, and that's quickly discoverable just by looking at this chart. And if we go over here, we can see my Alletra 6000 based system is starting to peak above high memory utilization, but again, don't have high CPU utilization. Right, so these are demonstration environments. I have a lot of machines that are turned off. But at any rate, if I go down a little bit further, Here we can see my SimpliVity cluster, the secondary SimpliVity cluster, as well as my new Alletra MP B10000 based system. So we still got to move a lot of resources or utilize that. But it's quick to be able to see and view, how your resources are getting utilized within your environment. If I scroll down a little bit further, we can see the performance of my virtual machines within my infrastructure. So top virtual machines, as far as IOPS, latency, we could look at recent virtual machines if we wanted to. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to click here. All right, and now we're under virtual machines. So we're under this section here. But now I'm getting information on this virtual machine that's running within this environment. You can see its IP address, what type of data store it's sitting on, its capacity utilization as far as its virtual hard drives, and its performance, whether we're looking at total IOPS or latency. We can also go across on its configuration, so we could see its CPU cores, see its networking configuration, storage configuration, so this has 2 virtual hard drives connected to it or 2 VMDK files connected to it. Then any recent tasks will show up over here. Plus we have some other related information down here. All right, so let's go back on over to the dashboard. All right, so we get a lot of information, at our fingertips within this section. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to go down into systems. We could actually see the systems that I'm managing, or my hyper-converged solutions that I have on-prem. And again, we're managing across stack. You can see I've got a couple SimpliVity systems, a legacy Nimble based DHCI solution. Then this is a DHCI solution based on the Alletra 6000 based solution, and this will be a DHCI solution based on the Alletra MP. And I happen to have those vCenter tabs opened up here for a few of those systems so we could see what's happening within this environment as I make changes up within the cloud. So we're interested in our Alletra MP, so let's open that up. And again, we get a lot of great information about the solution. So a summary of the solution, compute, as far as my servers and the array itself. You can see the capacity utilization. All right, if I scroll down a little bit, you can see the virtual machines that are running inside this environment. I think it's also important to note over here under actions, I can run software updates if I want. So this will update the entire stack in your environment aside from the vCenter in your infrastructure. So you'll need to use normal VMware practices for updating vCenter, which is easy these days. But after that, once I click on run software updates, what those updates will do is go out and update the array itself in an automated fashion. So doing the dormant controller, update that with newest firmware, fail on over the secondary controller, and then bring that up and update that as well. It'll also put the client servers into maintenance mode for you, and then do all the updates on that. And that does certainly include updating the ESX software, any software that's installed inside ESX, as well as doing the service pack per client on the server. So all the firmware and software related with that are updated as well. So it's a nice, easy process for being able to update the systems. I can tell you my Alletra-based system, as well as my Nimble DHCI solution, I upgraded those from vSphere 7 to vSphere 8. Both of those took me less than a half a day to be able to do those updates within the environment. So it's very simple using this platform. But again, we could see all the virtual machines. And those would be the same that we're seeing here. We could look at the cluster. So that'll be this cluster here. The servers within that environment, so I've got 2 of them, and the storage that's being leveraged. All right, we could also look at the data stores that are being utilized. All right, you can see I've got 2 data stores listed here. All right, now they exclude the local data stores as well as any reserved data stores. So if I go look inside my vCenter environment and go over to storage, you'll see the 2 reserved data stores that are used for HA, as well as the local data stores are not represented within that interface. So why don't we go through and create a data store. All right, so I'm going to click the plus. We will call this Ingram Micro YouTube Data Store 1. I don't know, why don't we make this something small? We'll do 1 TB. I'm going to click next. Right, there's the cluster I was just showing you. So I'll select that. Move forward. Certainly we want to use data reduction. We want to use our storage the most efficiently as possible. All right, and here's our summary. And I'm going to click create. And this is going to go through that process and actually create that data store. And we get a little message about that up there. So one thing I do want to note about this environment that is, what facilitates the connection between the on-prem hardware and this cloud-based solution. When we look at Alletra 5000, 10,000, or the legacy Nimble solutions, what they do in those environments, and this is that environment, is there's a plugin that's installed as a part of the deployment process. All right, we can see that plugin there, as well as over here. And that facilitates the connection between the on-prem hardware and the cloud-based solution. But when we look at the Alletra MP B10000 based solutions, as well as SimpliVity, there will be a connector that's deployed. So data services connector here. And if I look at our SimpliVity environment, we see that data services connected here. So as a part of deploying a PCBE solution or a DHCI based solution, that connector will get deployed. If I go over here, go down to administration and data services connector, we could see both of those. And then if you looked at one of my prior videos on the Alletra MP, you will see the process that gets deployed within an environment. Now what is different is a SimpliVity environment. You will have to manually deploy that connector at this time. All right, and that's pretty easy. You're just going to click the plus sign over here, click download package, and then again click download package, and this will come down. All right, if we look over here, we can see that package is being downloaded, and it is just an OVA. All right, and a part of that process, you'll deploy that inside your VMware environment. All right, give that an IP address, and then there's a kind of a code to give a relationship so the cloud knows it's actually what you want to deploy inside the environment. All right, we'll cancel that, so we'll see those two connectors right here. Let's go back on over to our system. Here's our Alletra MP B10000 based systems. Let's quickly go look inside VMware and see if our volume has been presented. All right, so there's our volume. That certainly was created. So let's go through and let's create a virtual machine. So I'm going to click on the plus sign over here. We're going to create one virtual machine. Again, we'll call this Ingram Micro YouTube VM1. I'm going to click next. There again is my cluster. Click next again. And then I'm going to select the storage that I want to place this on. We're going to place it on this one right here. I'm going to click next. And then I got virtual machines that'll show up that are listed within our content library. All right, so I got a variety of them here. If I go look at my vCenter environment, all right, and I go over here and I look at my content library, all right, you see the same templates exist over here. All right, so we leverage those to be able to deploy a virtual machine within our PCBE solution. So I'm just going to take a small VM. We're just going to take this Ubuntu server right here. Click next. All right, we'll click next again. Review the summary and then click create. All right, we get a successful message that the VM is being created. All right, in a little bit we'll see that virtual machine show up underneath here. But if we go inside the vSphere environment, we can see it's already starting to get deployed within our infrastructure. And again, in a little bit, we'll start seeing that deployed. We can already see it showing up over here. Okay. So that's creating a virtual machine from the systems context. We could also look at the virtual machines context. So if I go down here to virtual machines, you'll see I have a variety of virtual machines that show up within our environment that are across different platforms down here. All right, so these would be all my private cloud virtual machines, but I can also see public cloud virtual machines. All right, and obviously I'm sharing this environment with other people, so this is an AWS account that we have. I could actually filter this down if I wanted to. I'll just do HPE, and we can see those virtual machines. Over here is my cloud account, so again I'll filter this down as well. You can see those virtual machines exist over here. All right, so the first thing we'll do is I'm going to go to my private cloud section, and we're going to go create another virtual machine. Again, we'll call this Ingram Micro YouTube VM2. I'm going to click next. Now I can see all my clusters within my environment. I'm going to grab a SimpliVity cluster and I'm going to click next. All right, we'll put it on this data store. Click next again. Here's the template from our template library. And I'm going to click create. All right, so it's easy for me to pick and choose what private cloud resource that I want to deploy a new virtual machine with. All right, but we could also deploy in the public cloud if I choose. All right, so again, I click the plus sign over here. And I've got my Amazon account linked with this. We'll give it a name. We'll call this HPE Ingram Micro. We'll just do YouTube this time. Well, maybe we'll call it VM3. Select our cloud account. You could have multiple cloud accounts if you want to. Obviously, we need a region, and then I need my cloud key pair. Click next. Now I'm going to have to select an image. I'm going to look for a Windows image. I don't know, I guess we'll just use this one here. I'll click next. I'll find something that's free tier eligible. I just want to show you something, so I don't need anything that's too high horsepower. Click next again, and then I'm going to click create. And again, we can see that was successfully submitted. So again, with this resource, I was able to come up and from the cloud, be able to go create this data store, and create this virtual machine, not only on this DHCI solution, but also within our SimpliVity solution. So there's that virtual machine. And then finally, if I refresh up here, you'll see how it actually was able to deploy something up within the cloud. So this is your holistic management for both your private and public cloud offerings inside your environment. All right, so that is our block storage based on Alletra MP B10000 DHCI solution, and how to manage that from within Private Cloud Business Edition, as well as other HPE Hyper-Converged solution, as well as the public cloud offerings. I hope you found this video informative, and please stay tuned for more videos.